Good evening and welcome to the national news broadcast on Channel I, and we are ready to bring you the top stories from home and around the world. I'm Natalia Rupavahini.
I'm Movin Hettiarachi, and here are today's headlines. The Mathura-Hambantota stretch of the Southern Expressway vested with the public. Bus services to commence tomorrow. A task force established to inquire into the progress of the investigations into the Easter Sunday attacks. The price of big onions comes down within 10 hours. A guest who seeks breakfast from the villagers.
And now on the top story tonight, Sri Lanka today became the first South Asian country to have constructed a network of highways connecting two international airports. This was as the Mathura-Hambantota stretch of the Southern Expressway was vested with the public. The ceremony in this regard was held this evening under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The expressway from the Kottava interchange to Hambantota spans 222 kilometers and it takes 3.5 hours of travel time. The stretch from Mathura to Hambantota weighs 96 kilometers, was completed under 4 stages. The third and the fourth stages were declared open previously whilst construction work was in progress. However, today travel from Colombo to Hambantota has been facilitated with the inauguration of this roadway. The Mathura-Hambantota stretch consists of 8 interchanges, which are Godagama Paladuwa, Aparakka, Beliyatta, Kasagala, Anganukula Palassa, Vetiya, Suryawewa and Andarawewa. The main objective of the project is to connect the Hambantota port and the Mathura International Airport with Sri Lanka's commercial capital, Colombo. A high socio-economic development is anticipated with focus on tourism, as the Suryawewa International Cricket Stadium is accessible within a short travel time via the expressway. The project was implemented upon funding from the Chinese government. The cost involved for the construction of the Mathura-Hambantota stretch was 225 billion rupees. The stretch has been constructed preserving the wetlands along the Nirvala river bank and by controlling flood water through the construction of bridges on pillars, tunnels and a number of flyovers. Special focus has been given on conserving the environment and wildlife. As compensation to the Dandeniya Forest Reserve, steps were taken to plant 100 trees for every tree that had to be cut down when constructing the stretch. The inauguration ceremony was held today at the Godagama Paladuwa interchange. The President, the Prime Minister and Chinese Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Cheng Xuan, were in attendance with a number of invitees. Upon purchasing tickets at the Paladuwa interchange, the President and the Prime Minister travelled along the stretch up to Hambantota. En route, the President, Prime Minister and the invitees declared open the Aparakka, Beliyatta, Kasagala and Anganukula Palassa interchanges. They were warmly welcomed by the residents of the area. Thereafter, they reached the Baravakumbuka interchange, at which the main ceremonial rally was held.
A large gathering was in attendance at the ceremony organized at the Baravakumbuka interchange to declare open the Mathura-Hambantota stretch of the Southern Expressway. The President and the Prime Minister were warmly welcomed to the inauguration ceremony.
Sri Lanka ve Athigaru Janadipati Gotabaya Rajapaksa matuman Utsava Sabhava venuwen Agramatuman samagin ekatu wan avasthawa.
இந்த வேளையிலே இலங்கை ஜனநாயக சோசலிச குடியரசில் අපිට විරෝධයාව නිකම්ම නෙවෙයි.
Addressing the gathering, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said they faced opposition not for no reason at all. He noted at the inception of this highway network project, the people of 3 districts were served, as the highway first connected Colombo, Kalutara and Galle districts, which are districts in which 15% of the population of the country reside. He further stated, now the Mathura and Hambantota districts are also connected. When Katargama is also reached, the Ua province will also be connected when the highway stretch reaches its completion. Prime Minister Rajapaksa alleged that there are politicians who do not like to see these areas being developed. and he says so with reason. He noted the Mattala airport was destroyed under the previous regime and today has been brought to an unusable level, as over the past few years it was used for paddy storage. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, the move to store paddy at the airport was not only an insult to paddy and rice, but also an insult to culture of the country. The Premier stated those responsible for such a move should answer to their actions and question as to whether the grudge the individuals have with the South. The Premier says today the whole world has seen how valuable the airport has been. He noted that Sri Lankan students are repatriated from China during coronavirus outbreak. They were quarantined for medical examination and required facilities to bring them into the country were provided at the Mattala airport. Commenting on the Hambantota port, the Prime Minister said the need for port in Hambantota was noted even during the time of D.A. Rajapaksa. However, the concept could not be implemented. The Premier explained the Chinese government granted them a large amount of funds utilizing these funds, the project was implemented. He further stated when the port was to be constructed, there were some who wanted to construct the port in a different province instead of the south. Prime Minister Rajapaksa said his government was able to construct the Hambantota port amidst many obstacles and prejudices. He pointed out as soon as the present government came into power, all they did was selling it out. However, now they say they did not take steps to sell the port, only lease it under a 99-year-old lease agreement. The Premier said the opposition in 2015 filled the minds of the people with lies and instilled grudge.
With effect from tomorrow, 10 luxury buses will commute along the Mathura-Hambantota stretch of the Southern Expressway, which was declared open today. The government has also announced the bus fares for CTB buses, which will be plying along the Southern Expressway. The new buses will run from Ambalantota, Tengol and Hambantota towards the Katunayaka Airport and Kadawatha. Under the first phase, 3 luxury buses will be deployed from those locations. The bus services will commence operating from the Tengol bus terminal under the patronage of Minister Mahinda Amaravira tomorrow morning. Along the Southern Expressway, the fee for CTB buses from Hambantota to Colombo is 880 rupees. 680 rupees will be charged for the distance between Tengol and Colombo. 810 rupees will be charged from Hambantota to Makumbura, whilst from Tengol to Makumbura the charge would be 610 rupees. Meanwhile, a Gazette Extraordinary has been issued declaring the stretch from Mathura to Mattala along the Southern Expressway as a toll payable stretch. Thereby, toll is payable for vehicles using the stretch of 200 kilometers and 451 meters from Kottava to Mattala along the Southern Expressway. For light vehicles, 750 rupees will be charged from Kottava to Mattala, whilst 850 rupees will be charged from Kadawatha to Mattala and 950 rupees for travelling between Katunayaka and Mattala. For heavy vehicles, 1,400 rupees will be charged from Kottava to Mattala, whilst 1,500 rupees will be charged from Kadawatha to Mattala, and the charge from Katunayaka to Mattala will be 1,800 rupees. For other heavy vehicles, 2,400 rupees will be charged from Kottava to Mattala, whilst 2,650 rupees will be charged from Kadawatha to Mattala, and 3,000 rupees will be charged from Katunayaka to Mattala.
A task force has been instituted to inquire into the progress of the investigations carried out by the CID into the Easter Sunday attacks. This task force, which comprises 6 members, is chaired by the head of the National Intelligence, Major General Jagat Alvis. The Defence Secretary, Major General Kamal Gunaratna, says the task force was established upon the instructions of the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to expedite investigations into the attacks which targeted Christian churches and hotels. The task force is entrusted with the responsibility of inquiring into the progress of the investigations carried out by the CID on a weekly basis and report to the Defence Secretariat of the same. The Defence Secretariat says the investigations into the attacks were not conducted in a productive manner during the previous regime. And if a fair investigation is not conducted under the present regime, there would be no justice done to those who lost their lives and suffered injuries due to the attacks. The Defence Secretary states the President has instructed for contribution of all intelligence units to be obtained for the facts leading to the attacks to be identified and evidence to be gathered in order to bring the extremist groups before the law. Another objective of establishing this task force is to consolidate national and public security to prevent such attacks from taking place again.
The Consumer Affairs Authority states raids have commenced throughout the island in order to nab errant traders who sell big onions for high prices. The government yesterday announced the maximum retail price for a kilo of big onions as 190 rupees. The media reported a planted attempt to increase the price of big onions in an irregular manner during the forthcoming festive season. In response, the government determined a maximum retail price for a kilo of big onions. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said certain storages are hiding their stocks of onions. The Premier notes it raises questions when the price, which was at 100 rupees, is raised by 150 rupees. Prime Minister Rajapaksa says there seems to be conspiracy behind the price hike, since it was also at the moment the President was sworn in that the price of rice was increased. Meanwhile, with the announcement of a maximum retail price, a kilo of big onions, which was selling between 290 to 350 rupees, has come down to between 140 to 170 rupees today. Our correspondent states a racket had been going on at the Dambulla Economic Centre as well by creating an artificial shortage of big onions in order to increase the price. Red onions are being harvested in Jaffna these days, and stocks of red onions are being received at the Dambulla Economic Centre. Thereby, a kilo of red onions, which was selling at high prices between 500 to 600 rupees, has come down to between 230 to 250 rupees. Potatoes are also being received in the market, and a kilo of potatoes, which was being sold at 120 rupees, has come down to between 75 to 80 rupees.
The 43rd session of the United Nations Human Rights Council is scheduled to be commencing tomorrow. The decision of the government of Sri Lanka to withdraw its co-sponsorship of the Resolution 40-1 of March 2019 on promoting reconciliation, accountability and human rights in Sri Lanka has been conveyed to the UNHRC thus far. The 43rd session of the Human Rights Council will be held from tomorrow until March 20th, 2020. The inaugural session is expected to be held under the patronage of UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres. The report will be formally presented to the Council on the February 27th and discussed by Member States and others. Minister of Foreign Relations, Dinesh Gunawardena, will lead Sri Lankan delegation to the 43rd session of the Human Rights Council and formally inform the Council members on the government's decision when he addresses the high-level segment of the Council on February 26th. Foreign Secretary Ravinatha Arya Singha, who is presently in Geneva, has met with the President of the Human Rights Council, Ambassador Elizabeth Tishley Fisselberger. During the meeting of the Foreign Secretary has briefed on the decision of the government of Sri Lanka to withdraw its co-sponsorship of the Resolution 40-1 of March 2019 on promoting reconciliation, accountability and human rights in Sri Lanka, which also incorporates and builds on the preceding resolutions 30-1 of October 2015 and 34-1 of March 2017. He informed the President that the Cabinet of Ministers had approved the decision following a cabinet paper submitted by Foreign Relations Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. The President of the UHRC has appreciated Sri Lanka's initiatives to keep her briefed on the matter. Minister Gunawardena is expected to meet with the High Commissioner of the UN Human Rights Council, Michelle Bachelet, during his stay in Geneva.
Ambassador of Afghanistan to Sri Lanka, Mohammad Ashraf Haidari, says that the pending bilateral agreements on defence and trade expected to be signed under the present Sri Lankan government in near future. He further said that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa is committed in deepening the relations between Sri Lanka and Afghanistan. He made these remarks during an exclusive interview with the national television.
Since the inception, or I should say elevating of our relations to direct bilateral ties, which means opening embassies in Kabul and Colombo, we've signed 7 MOUs and agreements covering education, health, economy, science, technology, supports higher education, capacity building, employment of escaped from Sri Lanka, and so on. And there are 7 additional MOUs and agreements in the pipeline which remain pending, which we worked very hard with the former government last year. But unfortunately, last year was not as productive for the diplomatic community. So we look forward to signing the pending MOUs and agreements, which include one on defense cooperation, on trade and investment promotion and protection, and as well as transfer of prisoners in case, yes. Also a waiver of visas for our 2 countries' diplomats and so forth, while also working hard with the current government, which is very results-oriented, very pragmatic, to implement the existing MOUs and agreements which I described. So I had a very wide-ranging discussion with His Excellency President Rajapaksa, one-on-one. He was very kind to even give me additional time. We spent more than almost 1 hour to be specific, to discuss, our status of our bilateral relations, as well as this situation in the region and the common challenges facing our 2 countries, as well as our region, challenges like climate change, environmental insecurity, and challenges of terrorism and extremism, drug trafficking, human trafficking, and how Sri Lanka, and Afghanistan could work bilaterally but also multilaterally alongside other partners and common partners to address these challenges affecting all of us.
You can watch the full interview with the Ambassador of Afghanistan right after the news.
We now bring you the Diriyata Javayak segment. Kumar Shanmugesh Varan secured the silver medal in the 10,000 meters men's athletic event at the 13th South Asian Games held at Kathmandu in Nepal last year. He recorded a time of 30 minutes and 49.3 seconds. However, Shanmugesh Varan's sports journey in securing a medal in the international level has not been an easy climb. Kumar Shanmugesh Varan hails from Hatton. He is the youngest in a family of 3. His parents do not have a permanent employment, make ends meet with much difficulty. This was the reason for Shanmugesh Varan to stop schooling midway and head for Colombo in search of employment. Whilst being employed in a garage in Vallavath area, he however underwent into the training in the determination of somehow realizing his dream. Kumar Shanmugesh Varan, who did not regard any obstacles that came his way as an obstacle to his sporting talent, is now the national champion in 10,000 meters and 4,000 meters. He is also secured many victories at the national level under coach Shadid Jayalal. Shanmugesh Varan has already earned honor to his motherland, even with the memories of difficult past. If those who are able to assist can lend a helping hand, Shanmugesh Varan would surely be able to secure many more victories in the international sporting arena for Sri Lanka.
The National Fertilizer Secretariat states since sufficient stocks of fertilizer for the farmers are available in the country, there is absolutely no room for a fertilizer shortage to be experienced in the market in future. Issuing a statement, the Fertilizer Secretariat states although the fertilizer requirement has been met with regard to paddy cultivation of the 2019-2020 Maha cultivation season, rumours are spreading these days that shortages of fertilizer are being experienced in districts in which paddy is mostly cultivated. The farmers have been provided with chemical fertilizer by agrarian services centres according to the recommended quantity specified by the Department of Agriculture. Stocks of fertilizer such as urea, triple superphosphate and muriate of potash, which are needed for paddy cultivation, are available in stock until the commencement of 2020 Yalla cultivation season. Additional stocks of fertilizer have already been ordered in wave of the future cultivation season. Information has surfaced that certain fertilizer traders are concealing their stocks and selling fertilizer at high prices. In order to prevent such fraudulent trade practices, farmers are advised to make sure that a bill is issued to them when they purchase fertilizer. In addition, such errant trade practices in the sale of fertilizer can be brought to notice over telephone number 077 440 8185. The government has prepared a special plan to distribute standard organic fertilizer and biological fertilizer for farmers instead of chemical fertilizer in order to minimize misuse when deploying chemical fertilizer products.
The Met Department forecasts occasional showers within the next 24 hours over a number of districts in the island. The highest rainfall recorded within the last 24 hours, which was 30.2 millimeters of rain, was from the Naukiriaru area in Batiklo. Showers over 50 millimeters of rain are expected at some places in Nuwara, Mathale, and Badulla and Bandarwala districts. However, dry weather with severe heat is still being reported from a number of places. The maximum temperature of 35.9 degrees Celsius was reported from Colombo yesterday. The water level at a number of reservoirs in catchment areas are further decreasing due to the severe drought experienced along the western slopes of the Central Hills. The water level of the Kastigli High and Mausekela reservoir has also decreased. The waters of the reservoirs are utilized in generating hydropower at Canyon, Lakshapana, New Lakshapana, Polpitia, Vimalasulendra power plants. Greens that were submerged when building in Mausekela reservoir have resurfaced due to the drought. However, water levels of the Loggaloya reservoir is still rising as the waters in Randanigala and Ranthembe reservoirs are being released to it. However, the spill gates of Badulla, Kandeketia and Loggaloya have been reopened for the past few days.
An elephant from the wild had invaded the Galloy village, which is located in close proximity to the Kaudulla National Wildlife Park last night, resulting in 5 houses sustaining damages. The elephant, after invading the village in the early hours of the morning, had reportedly remained in the village until the following morning. Thereby, the villagers had to be confined to their houses and had to spend the night in fear. The giant was seemingly reluctant to move away from the village and seemed to want breakfast. The creature had waited until the residents opened their windows the following morning and had put his trunk through the windows, searching for food. The villagers, although experiencing mortal fear, did not forget to video the episode. The residents request the authorities to capture this jumbo and resettle the creature in a different area. Currently, the necessity to conserve the environment, including mangroves, is discussed in conversations as a topic of importance. Amongst mangrove stretches, the mangrove environment in the Gampaha district is significant as it stretches over a limited area. In the meantime, it was reported that the police took steps to halt a construction that was taking place in close proximity to the mangroves of the Negombo Lagoon. The mangrove environmental system contributes immensely towards biodiversity. However, due to human actions, these plant systems are destroyed, posing a threat to the environment. The Dungalpitia police yesterday raided a location in which an unauthorized construction was underway after destroying the mangroves in the Talahen area along the Negombo Lagoon. One suspect was apprehended and investigations are underway.
Bangladesh Navy has arrested 24 Sri Lankan fishermen and seized 4 travellers for fishing illegally inside Bangladeshi maritime boundary in Chattogram yesterday. A team of Bangladesh Navy spotted the 4 fishing travellers near the Chattogram seaport in the Bay of Bengal yesterday afternoon. They have arrested 24 fishermen of the Sri Lankan origin, while seizing 4 fishing trawlers. Later, the arrested fishermen had been handed over to Patenga police station last night. Bangladesh Navy has filed a case against Sri Lankan nationals with the police station in this connection. The arrested 24 Sri Lankan fishermen were procured before the Chattogram court by the police today. Bhante Thalangama Devananda, chief incumbent of Indiana Buddhist Temple of USA, conducted various pinkamas and other activities during his recent visit to Sri Lanka. The religious programs have been organized at the Kotte Rajamahavihara recently to commemorate Sri Lanka's Independence Day and Bhante Devananda's birthday. Lotus robes offering to Lord Buddha and distributing school supplies to low-income families were among the main activities. Sadham Foundation, under the Bhante Devananda's leadership of Indiana Buddhist Temple of the USA, donated a Buddha statue, pagoda, temples, the dining hall and monks' residences in the Badul area. Bhante Devananda placed the crest gem, Chudamanikya, on top of a stupa. He has decided to expand the program in sponsoring Samanera Bhikkhus in rural areas of Sri Lanka and India. That's it for tonight's English News Update. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.